So we saw what happened yesterday trying to spend $200, $200 between the 7-year rune pack and the re-app packs, $200 to try to get a rune that was as good as the legendary Runesmith event, and we did not get a rune. Even after $200, we did not get a rune that was at that same level. We could still have kept re-apping and re-apping and re-apping. I think we're just going to keep the rune. We're going to use the rune as it is. It had 2 rolls into defense and 2 rolls into speed. Only 15 speed, but, you know, it's still a usable rune. Not a super premium rune, but a usable rune. However, we still need runes. We always need runes. I need runes. You need runes. Everyone needs runes. Even people in the top 10 in RTA that have crazy, insane accounts that are like 6 figures in. They still need more runes. Everyone still needs more runes, more grinds, more re-apps, more everything. So today we are on a quest, and we sacrificed some Nat 5s to do it. I actually sacrificed triples. I had triples of a few different things on global server, and I also had where am I going? I had triples of some things on global server, and I had triples of something on Europe server. So I'm like, you know what, let's spend some ancient crystals on some runes. We hope. We don't know if it's actually going to happen, but we hope. Anyway, if you guys are curious, it was this triple Samoth, the 3rd Samoth on the main, the 3rd Diana on Europe server. So let's take a look at some of these runes that we have from here. We're going to refresh both. What did I spend? Did I spend? Do I have extra on here or extra on the other one? I don't know. But we're going to see if we can, actually pick anything good up. We're going to kind of evaluate these runes. So we have basically 60. We got 20 refresh chances. So we have 60 with a 20 times 3 plus 3 from the first one without refreshing. So 63 on here, and then 63 that we can evaluate on the Europe server. I was going to say the Dragon server. That's not a thing. Anyway, let's take a look. What would we want to do with something like this? This I would use probably for a Leica, right? I'm not going to buy this from here, but I would use it probably for a Leica. Second one, I would not even keep or re-roll or anything like that. If it did have speed instead of the attack, I would use it maybe for an Eladriel or something like that, right? Or some kind of reviver. Hope that it rolls speed, resistance, but even so, I think I would rather have like Nemesis or Will or something like that. Really not things that I would buy from here. This one, again, this one also I would not buy from here. It does have speed. I would roll it for speed if I picked it up. If these dropped, I would definitely keep and roll this one. Hope for speed and crit damage. This one I would hope for speed. And that's about it. So let's click on the other thing. This one I would roll for speed. It has nothing aside from speed that has anything going for it. This one is basically garbage. I would roll this for speed. But even so, like for a lot of things, you need more stats nowadays than just speed. You'd use it for arena offense for Kabilo or something like that, but that's about it. This one's absolute nonsense. 0 out of 10 rune. So, poo-poo. This one, not... I mean... Here's the thing. This actually has some value as a broken set for a fat Lucian, right? Depending on whether or not you need him on Will, depending on whether or not you have like a crit buff that you're using with him so he doesn't need 100%, like he doesn't need like a 2-set like Blade or whatever. This has some value if it rolls high stats and hopefully dodges the flat attack. But even so, you could still, on fat Lucian, you still want that flat attack, right? Second one is complete garbage. Third one, crit damage. That could be cool for something for like Rift Beasts, right? That could be cool for like a 2-set for some twins for Rift Beasts or something like that. Or plenty of units for Rift Beasts. Fight runes are fantastic there, and the crit damage is nice. I could even see throwing some, you know, a couple re-apps into that. This way, it has some value. Doesn't need to be anything specific. You just want decent value. You don't need to like chase speed or anything. Fits for Rift Beasts, but that's actually a pretty decent rune, and I wouldn't even without an innate, I would still re-app that, because that one, it's easy to be valuable for Rift Beasts with that, right? Okay, but I really wouldn't buy that from there. This, you're not gonna buy 246 with flat, unless it's speed on slot 2. You really don't care about that. So this is only roll for speed, otherwise, basically garbage. This is absolutely garbage. Resistance with a focus rune. How this rune is so confused. And then this is absolutely 0. It's another 0 out of 10 rune. This one's a 1 out of 10. This one's a 0 out of 10. This one is a... Well, this one actually has accuracy, speed, and defense. I would not buy this for a Trikaru, but if this dropped from like farming Rift Beasts, I would be, or if I crafted this, I'd be very excited. This is a fantastic Trikaru rune. Accuracy, speed, and defense, all the stats that you want for a Trikaru, right? So this one is for, like, I would put this on a bruiser. You still want speed, but this is pretty decent for like a HP tanky bruiser kind of thing for like Guild Wars or whatever. You know, sometimes it's nice to have destroy on some of those things like Beast Monks or Cha or, you know, things like that. This next one has really nothing going for it. Focus generally needs speed. This next one's actually not that bad at all. This next one is max rolls into everything. I wouldn't buy it from here, but I'd be very excited if this dropped from Necro. That's the maximum that you can get from crit damage is 7. 6 is the maximum. This is the maximum, and this is the maximum. So everything is the maximum. If it dodged accuracy, I could even see gemming and attack into that. I wouldn't buy that from here, but it's not bad. If, like, I'd be excited if this was a drop from a dungeon, right? So this is only care about rolling speed. Otherwise, it's don't care. Resistance. Resistance with endure, and then a speed, right, innate. That's garbage. And then this one is determination, and this is also, if this dropped from, I wouldn't buy this, but if this dropped from a dungeon, from like a Rift Beast or whatever, I would roll that for a lot of defense, because that's, again, another Trikaru thing, right? So, or you could even put it on like a Copper Bulldozer kind of thing as well, right? Because it had crit rate and crit damage. This has no speed, and it's also 135. We don't want to buy 135s from here. This, you don't want to buy this from here either, but you hope that it rolls speed, right? These are very low rolls, actually. Low roll into speed, low base into speed, low base into HP, low base into crit damage. It's really not very valuable overall kind of situation. It's almost like it's like a blue plus value rune here already, which is kind of sad. This also is kind of garbage unless you roll quad speed. That's all it's good for. Speed. This is a flat 2. This is garbage. 0 out of 10. This is another one. This is a I mean, should we say 0 out of 10 or should we give it a 1 out of 10 for this rune? This next one is kind of crap too. I mean, Leo, Vampire Leo, if you want to do a Vampire Leo, because it's got no speed, but yeah, this is not, again, not something you want to buy from here. Also, this one is, it's a Swift and it has speed as a sub. Unfortunately, it has innate HP, but this you could see if you roll a, yeah, this is just try to get quad speed, or at least triple speed. That's about it. Determination rune, this is not even for Trikaru because it's HP. This next one is just a slot 1 with innate speed, which is terrible. This is garbage. This is just roll for speed. Garbage. I mean, here's the thing. If this was, okay, if this second one was a will rune or a violent rune, I shouldn't really say it's garbage. Kind of garbage because you don't want to keep, you don't really want to re-app determination HP runes. But if this was a violent or a will rune, then I would say definitely big re-app candidate there. Violent or will, put that on a support unit, put it on a friend, put it on any real support, you know, Lulu or whatever, right? Yeah, but that's if that was a violent or a will. Let's take a look at this one. Just basically roll for speed. This next one is a put it on a bruiser for like Guild Wars or whatever. This next one is complete nonsense garbage. Onto the, I'm not even finding anything that I'm interested in. Because we have the crystals, but it's just nothing good. Okay, so the next one is just nothing. We don't care about that. This next one is we don't care about that either. This is never gonna have defense, but so like for Trikaru, like this rune, this slot 1 is never gonna have defense as a sub. So we're looking for like speed and accuracy for here, but we have innate here, and then we don't have any speed. So we can try to hope for a lot of speed in this slot 1 rune. That's the primary focus on it, but we don't have it there. And then there's another determination rune with not what we want on it. So Moving on. This one could be okay for a Fire Panda for Rift Beast in R5 or whatever, because it's got some defense and it's got some, you know, he does crit rate, crit damage for his skills. He does a little bit of damage as well. Not something I would, and fight runes is nice for like the Fire Panda to have fight runes, or Darien to have fight runes or whatever. Is not bad for that. I wouldn't buy that from here at all, but if it drops, it could be useful. Focus rune here is just nothing. I would just toss that. You put it on a bomber if it had speed. It does have HP and accuracy, but it's basically like a blue, it's just not, no, just don't. This next one is just, I mean, it had potential if it had more stats aside from the flat HP and the defense. Because there are speed-based damage dealers, like, for example, a Chimera or whatever. A speed-based damage dealer, so you could put, like, rage, speed, crit damage, attack on that. But it doesn't have crit rate, it doesn't have attack power, it doesn't have accuracy. Chimeras are nice on accuracy as well, so there just really isn't isn't enough going on. This is absolute nonsense. It doesn't really have much value. This is the same thing as flat slot 6. I mean, if this was a defense percentage, that'd be a different story. You could do this for a copper. This one is just also, it's just nothing. Nothing, it doesn't have speed, it doesn't have the subs, like the crit damage. Okay, if it had, with crit damage, you want crit rate and you want attack or defense or whatever, like you're going to do the crit damage with. Like if a unit scales on HP, you want HP and crit damage. If it scales on defense, like a Copper Bulldozer, you want defense, crit rate, crit damage. If it scales on attack, like Lucian, then you want attack, crit rate, and crit damage. So this is just like the crit damage is pointless without the other stats there. The resistance is resistance and aggregate. Like it just doesn't have. It has like almost no stats. I don't care about that rune at all. There's a lot of runes that I don't care about at all on here. Okay, so what do we have for here? This is... I mean, I feel like you could put this on something. I was gonna say Nemesis Leo. Nemesis Leo. But you wouldn't buy that from here anyway. This one you could put on, like some people do Despair Huadems and things like that. Huadem really isn't a meta thing anymore. This one is just like hope it rolls speed. Really not anything exciting to even be using this for. This is Nemesis with defense. There's really not too much Nemesis defense stuff. Generally, if you're doing Nemesis runes, you want speed. After I just said Nemesis Leo. You want speed and you want HP. Right? Because if it's defense, then things could die too fast and then the Nemesis doesn't really proc. So really, Nemesis with defense isn't really too much of a thing. Really not too much of a thing. Maybe there's some uses for that, but I don't have any. This next one over here, we just basically be rolling for speed as usual. This next one after that is maybe a turn 2 cleave, like slow cleave kind of thing, and you don't need a ton of speed in it, and you can just hope that it doesn't roll resistance. I'm not saying buy any of these. Clearly, we're not buying any of these, but hope it rolls high into HP, attack, and crit rate, dodges resistance, and then maybe you gem the resistance into speed, and you don't need to for the slow cleaves like shield will cleaves. You really don't need like Galleon, Triana, and I like to use Galleon, Triana, and the Water on Amusha, so you could definitely use something like that for this, right? But again, I wouldn't buy that here. It's not worth. It's not basically trading half an LD5, half an LD5 for it. Like no. You traded LD5s, half a Nat 5 for it. All right. This is just really no value. It's endure. Generally on endure, you want speed, HP, resistance, and defense for the most part on those. It doesn't have that. This is only if it rolls speed, and you're not going to buy it from here for that. This is like you roll it for speed if you get it from a dungeon, and if it doesn't roll speed, it's garbage. This is just garbage. This one has no speed into Swift. 9.9 times out of 10, Swift and speed, you need Swift and speed together. There are some situations where you could just use Swift for like the stat efficiency, but 9.9 times out, 99 times out of 100. I just say that. 99 times out of 100, you need swift and speed, and it doesn't have any speed, so it's pointless. This is, maybe, I mean, it doesn't have the stats it would need. Fatal, slot 4, you can put it on a bomber, you can put it on a Malacca, you can put it on a Dover, you can put it on a, what's the dark one? Dark bomber, dark joker. Bombers in general, but it doesn't have speed. It has accuracy, it has HP, which is okay, but it doesn't have any speed. So it's really not where you're gonna. You'll get slot 4 attacks. You don't really need this for anything. This next one is actually not bad. I would be kind of excited about it if I got this from a dungeon, because this is it's got flat HP innate. It's got 1 away from max on HP, and then it's got max on everything else. So this is actually a decently valuable rune over here. I'm not going to buy it from here, but I'd be excited if I got that from dungeon. I'd be like, oh, a good rune from a dungeon. Wow, it's crazy. What do we have for this? We don't have. Despair generally needs, almost always needs speed. 9 times out of 10 needs speed. You can get away with other things, like, for example, Antares doesn't need a ton of speed. Quidam doesn't need a ton of speed. If you're going to do Despair on those things, but generally, like, things that cut in. But anyway, this fight rune, I would not mind if it dropped from a dungeon. That would be cool for, like, a... I'm trying to think what a... Well, I would put it on a support unit, actually. I was thinking put it on, like, a fast damage shield, but no, I'd put it on a support unit. So this one's no. This one is put it on a support unit. I'm not going to buy it from here, but because it has a... This is kind of... We would want to overwrite that, right? So it doesn't really have any value there. We would hope that it, you know, doesn't actually roll into that. Crit damage is only minimum roll. This is 1 away from max roll. And then this defense is 3 away from max. So it doesn't have a ton of value. It's got like a blue rune kind of value, but you wouldn't want to buy this from here. This you roll for speed, of course. And you'd hope that it gets high rolls, at least a few rolls into speed. At least a few. At least 4 rolls into speed, guys. And then if it rolls 1 HP or defense, at least hope that it's a high roll, right? So it's a 14 or 15. Hope it dodges crit damage. Hope it at least gets like 3 rolls into speed would be nice, but I'm not going to buy that from here. Let's see what we get here. HP Rage Rune. So some people, I think, have questions about where this could be useful. I like to use runes like this. For example, for the Fire Cat, the Fire Marshal Cat. She does HP-based damage. She does destroy HP. I like to have her on HP crit damage, HP on rage, and try to get speed and subs. So this is actually not bad. She also buffs her on crit rate, so sometimes you can get away with not having crazy crit rate on her. So something like this is actually useful for something like that, HP-based bruiser. There's not too many units like that, but it's useful for something like that. This is durable accuracy rune. I could see putting this on like a galleon for arena offense if it rolls a lot of speed. It really doesn't have a... I mean, it's... I wouldn't even want to re-em this or anything like that, but if you had one with better stats overall, like the crit damage, HP, and resistance or other stuff, like HP, attack, something else, and it rolled a few speeds, I would put that on a galleon for arena offense, right? This next one, I wouldn't even... That's a nothing unless it rolls quad speed, in which case I still wouldn't want to use it, really. Yeah, what's next? Okay, we still don't have anything. So this is a slot 2 flat defense. This is a slot 2 flat attack. Crap. And then we have this one. This is a see if it rolls speed and see if it rolls speed. If this resistance was like a HP percentage, then it could be okay. Something like this could be okay for like for an Oracle. For like a Juno, because a lot of people doing Praha on Violent. I still put Praha on Despair. I think both work. Some people are just like, oh no, it's not, Despair is evil. Despair is evil in 2021. You can't put Despair on Praha. She has an AoE strip. You can still put Despair on Praha. No, Bango, you're stupid. But yeah, so Juno only, right? Juno only. Don't ever put any Despair runes on Praha, ever. But yeah, you could do something like that. The crit rate is nice for their skill 1 to turn cycle, but again, you don't buy that from here. So this is another one that you could, for example, the crit rate, speed, and HP. If this resistance was like a HP percentage, then it could be okay. Something like this could be okay for like a Juno, because a lot of people doing Praha on Violent. I still put Praha on Despair. I think both work. Some people are just like, oh no, it's not, Despair is evil. Despair is evil in 2021. You can't put Despair on Praha. No, Bango, you're stupid. But yeah, so Juno only, right? Juno only. Don't ever put any Despair runes on Praha, ever. But yeah, you could do something like that. The crit rate is nice for their skill 1 to turn cycle, but again, you don't buy that from here. That's not bad for something like the Fire Cat, right? But again, you're not going to buy a slot 3 from here. This next one actually doesn't have that bad value. I would be excited about this if I got this from a dungeon. However, I'm not excited about this from here. Because it just, I mean, you're hoping that it rolls crit rate and speed. You don't enhance runes, like attack enhance runes. Aren't things like, oh my goodness, attack enhance runes. I can't wait to get more of those. Generally, if I'm looking for an attack, because the stats go together, right? Attack percentage plus crit rate and speed. That's what I'm looking for on like rage runes, fatal runes, swift runes, things like that, violent runes, will runes. So I'm looking for those 3 stats together on something like that. An HP sub is also nice as well. I'm hoping that I would hope that it would not roll into resistance. And but I wouldn't hope for an enhanced rune, right? That's not the stats that I want for that specific set. I would still use this on something. I'd just use this like a 2 set or whatever. And then this next one is complete garbage. We found nothing worth buying. We found nothing worth buying, guys. All right, so let's go to Europe server and let's find nothing on those as well. Now we're here on the Europe server to find some more terrible runes that we have no interest in buying. So let's go to the Ancient Crystal. This is the one we have 770. So there's plenty here. How are you supposed to get runes in this game? You can't even trade Nat 5s for runes. You can't buy runes. Kanto's like, no runes for anybody. Well, how are other people getting runes? They're like, they get them directly from us. They get them in their inbox. They have contracts. I'm joking, right? I hope I'm joking. Okay, so this first one is a 135 rune, which generally we're not really buying those from here. Generally, we should not ever be buying 135 runes. I can't think of any exception. So this is no. This is, again, a no and a no. If they dropped from dungeons, I really also would not care about them. So, this next one is a, it could be what, Vega? I mean, if it had better stats, I don't mind the rage speed slot too for things like a water chimera, for example, or some speed-based damage dealers. But, put Zyros on rage speed, crit damage, attack with accuracy and subs, and crit rate and crit damage and attack and subs and stuff like that. I would want a little bit more stats here. I don't really mind that for, like, rage with speed. I just want, like, crit rate. Well, we do have crit rate. I don't mind the accuracy here. I just want, like, some attack, right? I would like these to be a little bit higher. I guess I would see how it rolls if we got this from a dungeon drop. This next one actually has, it has speed. I would roll it for speed. I wouldn't buy it from here, but that speed looks promising. Speed and HP, right? And I would hope it dodged the crit damage so we could overwrite that with something else. And we could use it for like a support unit if it rolled really high speed, but I wouldn't buy it from here. So this third one, actually, it is, well, I would hope that it doesn't get resistance. I would hope it doesn't roll into resistance, but it's actually not a bad, it's not a not bad rune. It's a very good, potentially a very good rune for Copper or Bulldozer. Since it has crit rate, crit damage, and defense, that's exactly what you want from them. So I would hope that it doesn't roll resistance. I wouldn't buy it from here because it's a 135 again. But if I got this from a dungeon drop, I'd be excited. I would want to hopefully not roll resistance and roll big, fat, juicy values into crit rate, crit damage, defense for Copper or Bulldozer. This one is a 246, but it's a flat attack, so it's garbage already. This one's a determination. It has no defense, so it's pointless. Tricar or whatever. This also, I wouldn't buy a 135. Again, I wouldn't buy a 135. This one's also a 5. It's got nothing. This is a 0. This is a 0. These rings are so bad. So bad. So bad. This accuracy rune, you could actually put a set of, throw a set of accuracy runes here or there for a Tricara as well. It's not determination, but it is potentially a rune set that you can use there. You could put some determinations, you could put a set of accuracy. It's all about just making sure that you have the right stats. So it does have the speed there, which we would hope for. The speed, I wouldn't buy this from this shop, but that does have some use for a Tricaru if you do get the speed. And then this one is this is a 0 out of 10 rune over here. And then this one is basically not anything that I would pick up. I would use this like the first week of the game, and that's about it. This next one, it's an Endure rune, so generally want speed, HP, resistance, defense on Endure style runes. Not too many people even like or use Endure runes at all. And it really doesn't have any. It has resistance and HP, and then attack and crit rate. It's not. I mean, you could use it as a 2-set for something if it rolled valuable stats. You could use it as, like, you use it as a 2-set for, like, a Leo or something like that. But, because it doesn't have any speed, but it's not something, regardless of that, it's not something you would buy from here, so we don't care. This one is a -3 out of 10 rune value because your account would be worse if this ever made it onto your account. This next one has no speed, and it doesn't even have this, like, if it doesn't have speed, you could still make an argument that, like, if it had attack, crit damage, crit rate, and see, it doesn't have the crit rate, it's got the resistance and a little bit more value. There would be, but you still wouldn't buy it from here because it's a 135. So this next one has no speed, and it's also 135. It's pretty terrible. Accuracy. Okay, so I want to just mention on accuracy slot 6 overall for rage runes. So accuracy slot 6 for rage runes is basically mostly pointless, because if you're doing rage runes, you want, mostly, not always pointless, if you're doing rage runes, you want as much damage as possible. So you want either attack crit damage attack, HP crit damage HP, defense crit damage defense, as much damage as possible. That's why you do a rage set. However, there is, I'm sure there's more than just the one exception, but actually there would be a second exception. The Spectra, number 1, can be rage. So it has big damage with skill 2 against bosses. And then also accuracy, right? You don't need attack on Spectra. You do speed, crit damage, accuracy for Spectra is perfectly fine. And this, I mean, it has like no subs, so it's still garbage. But if you got an accuracy rage rune with speed, crit rate, crit damage, and HP, subs, that would be a use. You could put it on a rage Spectra. This is a slot 2 flat. This is a garbage. This is 0 out of 10. This is 0 out of 10. This is also a 0 out of 10, except that you could use something like this for a Spectra if it had better subs, right? This is, you only roll it for speed, and even so, it's pretty terrible. It's a 0 out of 10 with potential to be a 2. This is, again, this is another thing you roll for speed if you get it on your account, but you never buy it from here, never buy it from here. This is at least it's a slot 6 rune, but this is basically a blue rune. I mean, for all intents and purposes, like, you're just rolling for speed anyway on this one as well. This is a resistance on vampire. Generally for vampire, you want to do a lot of damage so you can leech health. If you have resistance on slot 6, that lessens the amount of damage that you're going to do, which lessens the purpose of the vampire runes overall. So you just use this as a broken set if you roll a ton of speed on it. This defense slot 2 is garbage. Defense percentage slot 2 is just garbage. This one is also pretty garbage. Okay, moving on. There's nothing to even buy from these. Really, I'm just going to wind up buying gems and grinds after this. Bagley, you should review those. Maybe, but then I'm like, I don't know. Kind of wanted some runes, man. So this is, again, a 135, so we don't really care about buying those from here. However, this is not bad for a bomber if this rolls high rolls, because it's got speed, attack, and accuracy, and it's a focus rune, so that makes sense for a bomber, right? So like a Malaka for arena offense, these units, this makes sense. If you feel that you can use without, because sometimes people are like, no, I must use will runes for this, but sometimes you can get away with, depending on the comp and the opponents that you're hitting, you can get away with not using will runes. So you could use something like this for a bomber for arena offense. For this next one, you basically just roll it for speed. Although I think that it actually does have potentially some value for guild siege defense for a tanky bruiser guild siege defense. If it just rolls high rolls into like HP, and like maybe you get 2 speed rolls and you get 2 HP rolls, or you get 1 speed roll and 3 tanky HP rolls, I feel like you might be able to actually use this for like a Chandra or something like that for siege defense. So keep that in mind. Again, I wouldn't buy that from here, but that is a use for that. This is basically Nemesis with his speed innate and nothing, and it's a slot 5. This is actually not bad for, again, I wouldn't buy it from here because 135, but it's not bad. If you roll at least 2 speeds, at least a couple speeds, you could use this for like a... I mean, people are more using like 1 fat Lucian nowadays, but you could use this for a like double speed Lucians. Like this was a thing more back in the day. I really haven't. I personally haven't used it, but I know people. You know what? I know people still use the double speed Lucians, right? So you could still definitely use this for Lucians. You could also use this for like a Hua for R5 or things like that. You could use it for Stella. You could use it. There's some uses for this. Just a fast speed-based damage-dealing unit. It doesn't have to be crazy speed, but at least some speed. And there's a few different uses for something like that. This next one you just roll for speed, otherwise it's complete garbage. This one is mostly complete garbage. However, there is an argument to be made for if it rolls extremely efficient into attack and crit damage, you could use it for a broken set for a Lucian. It does not have any crit rate. You could put crit rate on like over the accuracy or something like that, and you could use it for a very high efficiency if it roll just as a broken set, not even for Nemesis, just as a broken set for Lucian. So this next one is defense on Despair, but it doesn't have any speed. Generally, I like to do speed. Speed and Despair go hand in hand. Speed and Focus go hand in hand. Things that you know are going to debuff the enemy in some way. Focus is if you have debuffs that you want to use. You generally have to be fast to apply the debuffs. Despair, you also have to be fast for that. So more so than the other ones, things like Despair, things like Focus, things like Swift, you need speed generally on these runes. This does not have speed. Also, HP is better than defense on Despair runes, just as a general rule of thumb. This is just garbage. This is a -5 out of 10. This next one is, you put this on a Rune, a Water Epicount Priest. That's about it. Or like a Light Lich or something like that, and hope that it rolls very fat into defense, resistance, and HP. That's about it for that one. Let's see what the next garbage runes are. Not even any usable runes. Again, this is kind of like a Leo situation if you want to do a Vampire Leo. This next one is complete garbage. This next one is basically just roll for... Well, actually... Okay, I was going to say roll for speed, but you could use this for a Shield Will Cleave team. Again, something like the Water Onimusha, which did I finish mentioning before? But the Galleon, Triana, and Water Onimusha is a team that I like to use. You also use with Julie, you use with whatever, but that's or Christina as well, right? There's a few different units that you could use there. This could be something that is usable there. It's got max rolls into attack and HP. You don't need a ton of speed for something like that, so keep that in mind. That could be a useful turn to Shield Will Cleave kind of situation there. So this one is... You could use this for like HP-based bruisers. He's got Revenge. Revenge and HP go hand in hand. It also has some defense. It has some resistance. I would want better stats. I would want some speed still. I would want some attack power. I would want some crit rate on something like this for a Revenge bruiser. I wouldn't buy it from here, but... a little better value rune you could do something with, like for example, like for monkeys, right? For some of the monkeys could be nice. For some beast monks, things like that. This next one is just garbage on top of garbage. Just garbage. This next one is potentially for like a copper bulldozer kind of thing. It's a shield, which is, you know, preferably you'd want Rage Will on those, but you can get away with shield in some instances, or you get away with just other sets in general in some instances, like Rage or Guard or things like that. Again, really nice to have Rage Will on it optimally, but you can get away with some other stuff. This one is just garbage on top of garbage. Is defense. Primary stat for slot 4 is just nonsense. This next one is, again, for something like a Shield Will Cleave team, Shield Will Bruiser Cleave team. Not too many people really take stock in these, but I think that there is some value to be said for some runes like this. Beast Monks could also be cool Shield Will Cleave units. Have we done that, or have we not done that? I don't know. This next one, Revenge with accuracy, could be useful, but generally I find that for something like Revenge, I want a lot of HP on it. So I'd want like accuracy and subs and HP primary stat. We really got nothing. This next one's roll for speed. This next one is could be potentially a bulldozer kind of thing, maybe, or something for example, Fire Panda for R5 or Darien for R5 or something like that. This next one is a just roll for speed, but not really things I'd pick up from here. All three basically roll for speed. Although this has some, this has some value for like against like a frontline R5 kind of thing. That's got some value there. We really found nothing in all of these. Enhanced rune, but maybe you could find the use for it in siege on like a tanky, like again like a Chandra or something like that, HP tanky kind of thing. You're missing out on speed, but maybe you could get away, see how it rolls. It rolls high into HP, defense, resistance, mostly HP. You could do the speed over the crit damage possibly. And it's got the ally HP, which is nice for HP tanky defenses there. For this one, you basically just see if it rolls speed. For this one, you basically... early game vertiheal. Early game vertiheal. Because you still need crit damage for the Tricaro vertiheal. So it's not a late game vertiheal, it's just an early game vertiheal thing. That's about it. Early game Diana thing. Unicorns. Some of the unicorns. This next one, just roll for speed. This next one is basically just roll for speed. This next one is shield will cleave, turn 2 shield will cleave kind of thing. Next one is roll for speed, although this is okay for, this could be okay for like something for Rift Beasts, right? Because fight runes are very good in Rift Beasts. This is just garbage, flat slot 6. This is roll for speed. Like it's a roll for speed situation in all of these. Okay. This actually is... I would be very excited if, and I kind of want to buy this actually. So this is 2 away from max efficiency in HP, defense, and attack. So 6 away from max efficiency, 2 away in each. But this is good for a Triton. This is good for a Chiwu. This is good for things like that. This is good for an Orion. This has some use. I do kind of want to buy this. I probably won't buy it. I don't. Because you know it's not going to roll speed. I would rather buy something that's more valuable. But this is calling my name. You know it's not going to roll. You know it's just all going to roll like minimum rolls into defense. I need to remind myself that this is going to just all roll minimum rolls into defense. And then I'm going to have to re-app it. And I already have legendary accuracy, swift stuff. But that does have some potential. If there was an innate here... that could definitely be, even if it didn't roll speed, that could be a re-app candidate if you're speed chasing, you're looking for stuff like for Triton or Chiwu or Orion or things like that. That definitely has some potential. And again, I would really want that innate though, because the innate would make it a re-app candidate. Because you really got a speed chase on these swift runes though. Oh, that's a juicy. Well, potentially juicy. Potentially could be very disappointing, and most likely will be very disappointing, but could have been. Yeah, this next one is garbage, so we don't really have to look at it too much. This next one is actually not bad for something like an HP-based bruiser. So something like a Beast Monk, something like a Wind Monkey, things like that, basically. Beast Monk or Wind Monkey, HP-based tanky bruiser kind of units. This is actually not bad, and I would hope that it rolls high into speed and crit rate, and then I could stick either defense or attack over the flat HP. I know I'm sad that I didn't buy that speed one, and it would have just been disappointing. Like I know it just would have been disappointing, right? We're like we needed to roll like 3 or 4 into speed for that. How are you supposed to get runes in this game? 7 years later, I'm still trying to figure it out, right? You guys like, me too. So this one, again, this is for, this is really not valuable enough for something for Rift Beast, but could be valuable for something for Rift Beast. I would see, like, if I got this, I would see if it rolls high into attack and HP, and maybe stick some You could stick some crit rate over the resistance. Let's see, and use it for Rift Beasts. This next one is garbage. This next one is kind of garbage also. This one is crit damage on Despair. So I used to like to try to do things on like crit damage on Despair, like fast aggressive units. The problem with that is that, like for example, if I was going to do a Zyros on Despair, right? Then that means I couldn't do him on Fatal or Rage or Swift, or even Violent, right? So like, let's say Fatal or Rage or Swift for an example. Zyros already needs speed, crit rate, crit damage, attack power, and accuracy. So he needs a lot of stuff already to really shine. He needs the accuracy, and he also needs to make sure that if you put him on damage, I mean, he needs to make sure that he crits. Using something like Despair or Violent on something like Zyros, then you need more stats in the runes overall. Whereas like if you use Swift, then you have some speed already, so you can kind of use less speed in the subs and get away with like, and then try to shoot for more crit rate, crit damage, accuracy, and attack. If you use something like Rage or Fatal, then you can get away with like using a little bit less attack and crit damage in the subs and go for like some more speed and accuracy. So using Despair or Violent, that just means that your rune, like the runes have to be better to make up for that. This next one is actually not bad for, again, Rift Beasts. So that one's pretty cool. But yeah, and this also needs to be reapped, so it's got like garbage stats after that. Like I would be looking for speed and crit rate definitely on that, and also accuracy. So speed, crit rate, and accuracy would be the subs, the primary subs that I'd be looking for something like this. This is cool for Rift Beasts. This is, I wouldn't really worry about that at all. We got nothing. We legit got nothing. Can I buy anything? I just want to buy something. Do we have more of these? Can I see how many I have of these? We want to buy something. Fine, we bought something, guys. We bought something. Hooray! Very exciting. Okay. I only want to buy super premium stuff here, like Violent, Will, Swift, Despair. Basically, that's all I'm going for. Yep. I mean, that's tempting, but that's just the focus. I'm sure I have those already. This is just, these are not even the sets that I want from this. I mean, I kind of want those same things, Violent, Will, Swift, Despair on the other one as well. A lot of these are exciting looking, but we really, like, there's so many Violence that we need that these are not, I wouldn't go for flats either on those. Yep. Not anything exciting from here either. Another thing is I don't really get too excited about these speed gems, just in general, because I like to try to generally get the speed on the rune to begin with, so I don't have to. Because every time I noticed this in the past, like every time I would get a stat efficient rune, and I'm like, okay, I'll just put some speed on afterwards. I'm always like, man, I need more speed still on this unit. So there are some units that you can get away with not having a crazy amount of speed on, but Summoner's War, and yeah, you generally need speed. So I have just found throughout the course of time it's like these speed gems are usually not really what you not really as exciting as initially, because you just want to try to get the speed to begin with, and then HP gems are generally what I find myself like really needing is like Violent and Will, like legend HP gems. Those are like the best things that I would want from here. So speed and crit damage. I mean, some people see things a little bit differently. Some people are like, oh, I'd like this, I'd like that. This defense one is looking very appealing, but we're gonna continue to do this. All right, so we got some of these. I'm actually I would be looking a little bit more for the gems, because gems drop less than grinds. So I'd be looking for more gems. Gems are more valuable from here than the grinds are. Just FYI. So like if we see Violent or Will HP gems, it's like pay dirt. Is that what it's called? Pay dirt? That's like pay dirt. There's some, I mean, there's some that are, you know, I'd be excited if they dropped from dungeons, but I'm not too excited to buy them from here necessarily. Again, I'm looking for, okay, so this is, ooh, fat, nice defense one. Crit rate for violent. I actually have these on a few different, I have like a stack of these on a few different accounts. Like this one and the, I think I have, I'm trying to remember which accounts, but I think people will get very excited about this. Would you guys get excited about this? Let me know if you guys would get excited about this, or if you don't get excited about this. But I could definitely see people getting excited about this this crit rate one. I'm going to pass, but I could definitely see people getting excited about that one. Again, some speed gems. I'm not too excited about those. Really looking mostly just for violent gems. Violent and will. HP gems is kind of what I'm looking for the most here. I bought the thing. I bought the despair one just because I'm like, I gotta buy something. Guys, I really gotta buy something. Anyway, maybe I'll get some of these re-app stones since, well, we know we're not gonna get anything from that anyway. So this was a very disappointing video. Any time we have to try to get anything to make us better in Summoner's War, it's always disappointing videos. It's like, well, we traded in several Nat 5s for these ancient crystals. Oh, there's nothing we can even trade these ancient crystals in for in terms of runes or grinds. There were some grinds. There were some grinds that were valuable, more so than the runes that they gave us. But I was just looking for, I was looking for a little bit more specifically violent and will gems, right? So I think we'll just keep looking every month and seeing if we get the violent will gems. But yeah. We couldn't spend $200 for runes. We couldn't trade Nat 5s in for runes. No runes, guys. No runes in Summoner's War. Nobody gets runes. Nothing you can do about it. That's it. Anyway, that's it for this one. But this way, you guys could feel a little bit better about it. You're like, okay, I don't get runes either. Nobody gets runes. Good. I'm part of the everybody because I got no whatever. Anyway, that's it for this one. I'll see you as always in the next one.